Okay. This video is for you if you are David, my brother's financial advisor, or a friend who's helping him and is advising him. Okay, let me share my screen to show you. I just want to help a little bit to look at this data because now it becomes a little bit complicated. Okay, here, the key factors, the rent, and I'm estimating what the agent that we've been working with in more detail gave us. Okay, and where I'm being conservative is in the months a year that this will be rented out. Our experience with David is we rented a little property for that we had inherited too. We're not really hard workers. A very small one. I think for 3 years we rented it out. The last year and a half we had someone that same person was not paying. We had to go to court. We spent money to get them out, and no gain for no gain and purpose. Okay. My father also had a person I think for a year that he couldn't throw out of the apartment. So I think this is actually not conservative. Actually, I should be more conservative. Then the syndic, the trash. Okay, this one I have to verify, but I've applied this cost. The agent is more or less what I was told. And then this one is very important, the taxes. When you get the pre-tax, you have to pay a gazillion taxes. C'est la France. Okay. Then this, you sum it up. Okay, this is you can check all of this. Anything in yellow is what I call a variable, something that you can edit, that you can change is the model. The other ones are supposed to be established. Okay. I'm assuming a 1.5 rent increase. For me, it could be more. Obviously, in all these cases, it could be more, it could be less. Here, my estimation is based on the complexity of changing renters. Okay. Um, then, very important, a reference value. This is David's situation. This is the inheritance and the valuation at inheritance, okay? And this is the selling price. The capital gain, this is the capital gain that David will be taxed on. This is the amount of capital gains he will pay. You have this document, but I've checked with several sources, okay? So you will end up with a net 258K euros. Then, very important, I'm estimating how this looks in 6 years. Okay, just to do a comparison, because that's the key. If you look at it now, very hard to compare. Okay, then 6%. Why? Because if you go to bonds, it's going to be less, absolutely, but the possibility, especially if you invest, if you're the financial advisor, you will tell my brother he needs to invest in something that gives him the stock market in the US has been giving crazy amounts. Obviously, it won't repeat itself forever, okay? But 6% is relatively established. If you want to put 5%, put 5%. Just do the estimation the way that you want, okay? This is a little bit what we need to do. Okay, then the value increase, very important. So my side, 232,000, buying price, 273,000, okay? And then very important, I'm taking the valuation, I'm taking this value as the value in market. Obviously, it could be higher. Don't get me wrong. This is where there's upside there. Okay. But it needs to be really, really high to actually compensate for all this. And right now we have a gazillion problems. That's why it's very hard to claim this. And then very important, I'm assuming that there's a reform or the rebuild of the apartment because we have one apartment that's completely massacred. Okay. Sorry, there will be taxes. So it's 270,000 plus the taxes. Okay, we're talking about 300 out of pocket. Then in addition to that, 45,000. Okay, for that. We've already talked about it with the agent. And actually, probably we should be closer to 60,000. But let's take that number. Then important. I'm assuming that in 6 years, because it's a super old building, there'll be another minimum cost of 12,000. Something that breaks that I need to assume 12,000 euros. Okay. Then I'm assuming a maintenance fee of 0.7% of the value of the property. And let me see. Actually, I did this wrong. Actually, 0.7% is supposed to be of the. Okay, so this cost is higher, actually. Okay, because it's supposed to be the total value. So it should be. No. Okay, sorry. This is correct. Sorry, so over the total value. Add this 273 value. It can be higher. We know this, but the cost will be higher also. Okay. And opportunity cost. This might be assumed or not accepted. But here, what I want to imply is there's a lot of time consumed in this. This year, I've calculated that at least 104 hours. That means 2 hours a week. Okay, have been dedicated to things related to this that I could be doing something else. It's true that I'm applying a 70 euro price per hour, which is much lower than what it would be if I were charging for my professional services. Obviously, I can't compare, but this is just a number. Obviously, you can say, I don't accept this. Okay, delete it. Okay. But this is very important because it's a property that because of the tax situation, because it's France, because of the distance on it, it's incredibly complicated. Okay. Then Related to this, okay, you have here the income, okay? You have here the income that I would get from the rent, the cost of, oh, this is very important, the opportunity cost. This money, okay, all these amounts of money that I'm paying in year zero, okay, in year one, I'm applying the value of money, meaning, hey, if I were investing like my brother, if I were investing the cash like my brother will be able to do, I will be getting this. So this is the opportunity cost. This is the thing is that I haven't done everything correctly on every side. Okay, so there's some variations. If you want to correct it, happy to do it, but more or less the number, the bulk number, will operate correctly. Okay, I haven't applied it here just for the complexity of doing it because I just do it with the amounts that are in year one. Okay, just for the sake of it. Actually, if I did it here, let me see. Oh, actually, the same amount, huh? Interesting. Okay, so selling price, okay, very important. These are all the costs, okay, related to this. The money that I spent on these fees, the money that I spent on the reform, the money that I will spend on the any big repairs, the money that I will spend on. Let me zoom in. Sorry, let me block here so you can see year one. My apologies, although you will be able to see it anyways. The row. Oh, and this stupid thing. Okay, screw it. Okay, you can see it right here. Okay, and I'll unzoom 90%. Okay, and you can see all the costs here. Sorry, perfect. Here you have the selling price. Here, very important. You might say, oh, what, 7%? What I'm calculating is more or less an investment of 7% of the value of the house. No, 8 or 9% of the value of the house. 7% increase in value. Could be a little bit higher. Okay, you can apply that. Then very important, you're seeing here only 1% in terms of value increase. Here, very important, and everything is linked here. So you have it linked here. This is a file, okay? You can see that the value increase actually, and this freaked me out a little bit, to be frank. This is obviously from 2024, but well, just the reference. I think what is historically interesting is, yeah, there were some crazy years, the same in Spain, okay, pre-2008, where prices were going up like crazy. Then they went down like pretty crazy, went up again. Now it's even dipped. The key factor here is that overall, if you start to look the last 10 years, is more or less, I think it's 1% increase, okay? Could it go up? Yes, but the economic situation in the next years, I mean, yes. Can it? Can it? Yeah, that's part of that, the upside. That's part of the, hey, what if you get it? But there's tons of risk. Could it be? Yeah, yeah. But there's a risk that, because in my case, I just think it needs to be done. I just want to keep the house. There's no negotiation, mental negotiation for me about that. Okay, then very important capital gains. Okay, I put them here. Capital gains. Sorry, this one is the one in green, dummy, and this one is the one in black. Okay, it's all negative. Okay, I should have put it in red. Okay, because these two are in green. Okay, this is money that is coming in. Okay, and these ones are red. Okay, I'm not gonna shoot this video again because I've stopped several times. I was looking at the formulas and then like, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Okay, and this is green. So you can see this quite clearly. Oh, damn it. You can see this quite clearly. Green, okay, the rental income, negative. The money that was put up front in terms of all these expenses, the continuous expenses, and the capital gain tax and the agent commission. You can say, hey, this could be less. I've seen between 3 and 8%. So I'm leaving it at 5%. I need to be conservative. Okay. The notaire, other custom fees like notaire, some other crap. Each time I read, I find more taxes. Okay. Then this is the situation. Supposedly, my net income from this, because we're calculating that we started with zero, okay? From this operation, in the case of David, is 366,000. In my case, 58,000. And a little bit, you could calculate opportunity cost, and we could calculate a lot of variables, but I want to keep it, okay? This is the way I'm looking at it. Then, if you look at this, what would be a price that would balance out, okay? Obviously we have to go down. Maybe I should not be investing in this. Okay, but you see, we have to go down to maybe 120,000. Doesn't matter. You can change the variables all you want. What you can see is that probably the value that I should pay, okay, is relatively lower, and for the deal to make sense on both sides. Okay, for both of us to make relatively a good amount of money. There might be some alternatives. You're saying, hey, why are you even doing this? Or this is not the right way to calculate it. Please tell me. I've run it this way. It's this the first time I've done this kind of calculation of looking one against the other. In my life, I normally do other type of financials. Okay. Yeah, as you can see here, there's a loss in capital gains, obviously, but in the end, I was net. It was zero. The cost for us was zero of all this, of our 50%, not of the other 50% if we need to buy it. Then this is a little bit the reference number. You might say, hey, I'm calculating 4%, and I'm going to calculate 3%, and whatever. You can play around with this, okay? This one's, I'm not very, okay? You can put zero here, okay? Still with this case that I don't agree, okay? Because this would be need to be at least 6%, okay? I'll leave that 6%. And me with the upside, okay? Still, we would need, I don't know, 180,000. I think it's not a zero. Still we wouldn't match up. Okay, so this is where I need to buy it, and it needs to be 150,000, for example. Okay, saying, hey, your property is going to actually increase much more in value. You're being too pessimistic, blah blah. And it's true. It's true in all this. Okay, that the way I'm looking at this is relatively pessimistic because it could be that the property is more valuable, or it could be especially uh, if we get the construction company to come in, the developer to come in and take over the apartment and rebuild everything, even though I won't be renting it for a couple of years, but I'll get two brand new apartments. I agree with that. This is a massive upside. Okay, that would change the name of the game. Absolutely. And this is what I mentioned, that if that were to happen, I'm happy to pay a much lower amount. Okay. Let's say, for example, 150,000. But then if the property goes sky high, and then I can sell it at a much higher price to give part of that, to give a commission on the upside. So then, for example, if the upside is suddenly it becomes, I don't know, because it's crazy in 10 years, it becomes $1 million, dollars. Okay, what I can sell it for. I'm just going to make up $1 million here. Okay. Oh, did I do this right? $1 million selling price. Okay. To share, kind of part of these gains. So let's say that the total taxes, capital gains. Okay, my capital gains are how can they be so big? Okay, yeah, sorry, with the 150,000. Okay, and now in that situation, I'm the one. Okay, but it's quite pretty crazy to assume that this will be worth €1 million. Okay, this is the insane case. Okay, and I'm absolutely unrealistic, but I'm happy to share part of those gains and say, hey, David is going to take 20%, 10%, 15. I need to do the calculation of how much that would be. Okay. But a part of that saying, hey, actually, David is taking a percentage of this. So suddenly that becomes, I don't know, another 50K, another 60K, another 70K. Okay. Just bringing that's a little bit what could make sense. Because then there's a sharing of the risk and of this. If I now have to pay this amount, 273,000, it doesn't make sense. But I do want to keep the property because I need to, because it doesn't matter. It's a long-term commitment and I want it to be this way. Okay.